Think we're live. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Michele, and I'm the owner of Vintage Revival Design Co. And we're here for our Wednesday live. We're going to be working with fabric and decoupage today. I'm looking forward to sharing the project with you, and I hope you'll enjoy it. If you pop on here, please say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, and let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to bring up my project, and we are going to be working with the adorable retro Halloween paper. This is by Roy Cycled Treasures. It was designed by Lexi Grenzer, and it's got these darling little candy corns and these cute little, sweet little retro Halloween images, and I thought they would be really fun. So we're actually going to be making a trick-or-treat bag for whoever, I don't know. But I went ahead and cut some of the images out, and I'm going to show you, I've already prepared one that we can work with, and then I'm going to show you how I got there. Okay, so the Halloween tote or the trick-or-treat bag that I'm going to be working with is just a canvas tote, just like this. And so these are easy to find. This one has a zip closure. It's got two handles. It's super sturdy. And the first thing that I want to do is I'm just going to iron this a little bit. I just want to kind of get my wrinkles out as best as I can. I've got a hinge right here, so that makes it a little difficult, but I'm just going to run my iron over this. And I've already pre-washed this and let it dry, and I did not use any fabric softeners. So I've got a thing here that happens where my camera goes out a little bit. But I'm going to see if I can get that to go back in focus. Let me see if I can switch out a second and then bring it back. See if that helps. I don't know. It's going to take just a second to, okay, here we go. I think it's coming back in focus. Let's see. So I've ironed this. So I pre-washed this. There we go. And I ran this through the dryer. You want to remove any sizing that you might have from your fabric, and you want to make sure to wash it without any fabric softener. So I see that I've got some comments here. Here we go. Hi, Kara. How are you? And Wanda and Joanne, thank you so much for joining and for saying hello. So to begin, we're actually going to be using this little owl here for our bag, but I want to show you what I did. I went ahead and cut out this block, and we're going to be working with a project. This is called Mod Podge. It's the blue bottle, and it is for fabric. And I tried this on something else and was actually really pleased. I don't typically use Mod Podge for decoupage because I'm concerned about it yellowing over time. We'll see how this goes. We're going to go ahead and give it a try. So I've got my block of paper here, and what I don't want to do is just apply the Mod Podge everywhere over my tote. And the reason I don't want to do that is because it does change the color of your tote, and it would just have glue in places where it didn't need it. So what I'm going to do is position between the handles this block, and then I'm going to use some blue painter's tape, and I'm going to just create a block that is slightly bigger than my tissue. I'm going to just try to hold it in place, and I'm going to block this off just like this. And I'm going to go all the way around, just slightly bigger. You could cut a piece of cardstock to size, just a little bit bigger if you wanted to use that. But I just laid the paper down in place, and that seemed to work really well for me. Hi, Lori. How are you? We are making a trick-or-treat bag today with this darling paper. Super, super cute. And so I'm going to, again, just slightly bigger. I'm going to need another little piece of tape right here. And I'm taping this off so that I only get glue where I want it. Okay, I'm going to line that back up again, and we'll do that last little piece. So I will have a slight little glue line around my my paper, but I could always paint around that or do something else. And hi, there's the other Lori. I have both Loris here. Hello, hello. And so I'm just doing this right there, and I'm going to make sure that it's still going to fit because the edges are going to be super important. So now that I have that, I'm going to just make sure that my tape is down really securely. And I'm going to go ahead and do a second one of these so that I can show you. So what I've done is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock. I'm not really worried about the glue seeping through because this is fairly thick, but just in case I don't want it to go to the other side, I'm going to stick a piece of cardstock in here. You could use plastic or something else. And then what I did was I wanted a stiff brush because I want my Mod Podge to get into all the fibers of the fabric. And so I had a 1-inch round brush and I put some painter's tape around the top of it just to make sure that it would be stiffer, I guess. And so I'm going to dip that into my Mod Podge for fabric, medium, just like this, full strength. I'm not going to water it down. And I'm going to go in a circular motion so that I am pushing that Mod Podge into the fibers of the tote. And I'm even going over the tape because, again, I'm going to want to make sure that the edges of my paper are well secured. And so I'll do this over the entire area. And I'm going to let this first coat dry completely. And then I'll apply a second coat. And so I'm just doing a generous coat here, trying not to go over the tape, or off the left side of the tape or the outer edge of the tape, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting it. And I do like this brush. I think you could use a stencil brush, just something, I just want to be able to push it down into those fibers, and this seems to work really well. And so I'll just continue to do this. I will let this dry probably, I don't know, about 2 hours or so. The first one I did speed it up with a heat gun, and that helped. And then I put on my second coat, but I definitely want 2 coats. And we do that to make sure that we have full coverage all over our bag so that our paper is going to adhere to it when we apply it. So I'll just make sure that I've gone over the edges too. But it does change the color ever so slightly, or maybe it's the sheen. I guess the biggest thing to say is that you will notice where you put glue down and where you haven't. So I'm just going to go along my edges. And so I would set this aside and let this dry, like I said, for about 2 hours, or speed it up with a heat gun. And I'll do my second coat on that. And Tracy, this I found, I'm using the Mod Podge for fabric, and I didn't notice anything stiff about it. So maybe try that. Let me know if you've tried, if you did your shirt or your blouse with this or something else. So this would be sitting aside. I'm going to just, I'm a little out of room here. And so what I have is one that I've already prepared for the bag. And so I've got a piece of parchment paper, and I've got this sweet little owl, and I'm going to lay him in place as straight as I possibly can and make sure that there's a little bit of overlap here. And I think we're going to be okay. I've got my, I've got this heating up. So I've got a little craft iron here. I'm going to go ahead and start in the middle, and I'm not going to go up to the tape. I'm going to go up to that area, but I want to get this in place. Okay. And now that that's in place, I'm going to go ahead and lift my tape up. I'm afraid that if I went over the tape, I may or may not get a little of the residue. So I'm not sure. I have not used the Pentart on fabric, Tracy, so I can't really speak to that. But I would reach out to the retailer that you purchased it from and ask for their suggestions. I have not used the pen tart yet, but somebody's going to be able to help you. The person that you bought it from should be able to help you. And so I'm going to go ahead and lay my parchment paper back down, just like this. And now we can go over the entire thing. And again, I have a little hinge on my table, so I'm going to pull this off to the side. I'm just kind of going in a circular motion. Like this. I'm going to lift up and see. Okay, I've got a little bit here that needs to go. Hopefully I got that. You want to keep some kind of protector, either a Teflon sheet or a piece of parchment paper. It'll protect your iron, and it'll also protect your decoupage paper. And so that's really important to remember, to always have that barrier there. I'm going to see if I've got this. I'm going to go around and check my edges. They're secure. It's super cute, and it's on there. Okay. And so, Jan, this has 2 coats underneath this paper of Mod Podge for fabric that we're allowed to iron. So Redefined seems to know about pen tart. And so Tracy, she might be a good person for you to reach out to. So I thought, it's cute like this. I thought about stamping, you know, trick or treat or something like that. But then I thought, let's try something different. I hope this is going to work. And then what I did was I also fussy cut out the little candy corns. And I didn't think that one really through well, because what I did was I put it on a plastic sheet. This is just a Dollar Tree cutting board, a plastic one. And I turned them upside down, and I applied the Mod Podge for fabric on the back. And that's all well and good. But what happens when I lift them up is where I went over, because I wanted to make sure that they were covered on all areas, is I forgot that the glue would just lift right up with it. So I'm going to have to do a little finagling with an X-Acto knife, is how I thought I could kind of solve that problem a little bit, and just kind of cut into the glue. And then let's see if I can lift this up. So see here, I've got a little bit of a glue issue. So you might want to think about that. But now that's a little bit better, okay? And so what I thought we could do is just kind of play around with the placement of these and just do a little something extra with them. And so I have like this big one would be really cute, and we could turn a little one. I don't know, I thought we would just play with them and do that. And so Andrea, we're working with Roycycled decoupage tissue today. It is the retro Halloween paper. Hi, Royce, how are you? And let's see if I have any other questions. Nope, I think we're good so far. So learn from my mistakes and think about how you're going to address the excess glue if you do this. It seemed to work out really well, but I thought this way I could just place them wherever I wanted, and then we would use our parchment paper, because the directions for the Mod Podge say that you can apply it to the back of your fabric and let that dry for about 2 hours, and then you can iron it on. And so I thought, okay, let's do that. What I love about this is it is super pliable when you're done. Now, once this has been allowed to dry, once the bag is complete and it's been allowed to dry for 72 hours, it then becomes machine washable. We're going to seal it again with Mod Podge, and I can also seal it with some matte varnish. But when I say machine washable, what I mean is that you're going to want to wash it in cold water on the delicate cycle, and you're going to let it line dry. So we're not going to put this in the dryer. Just like our iron heats up the glue, so would your dryer So we want to be careful about that. Okay. So I'm going to do, let's see, I've got some large ones. I'll do another large one over here. I wouldn't have had to do this if I had thought about that glue overage, but you know, live and learn, and we don't know until we try, right? I hadn't planned on really adding anything to this until I realized that even though it is cute like that, just as it is, I thought it just needed a little something. And I wanted to use these sweet little candy corns. They're darling. I'm cutting into this a little bit, but that's okay. Changing the shape just a little bit. And that's okay too. The important thing is that you want to make sure you have glue all the way, that it's completely covered with the glue. And you can see a little bit of the sheen on that to see that it's a little, it feels a little sticky and plastic like, because it is. So let's do a couple of more. We'll just take these out with the X-Acto knife. And I didn't realize this until just before I went live. So, or I would have had these out, but I guess it's good to be able to see how we're addressing this, right? I think that this fabric Mod Podge has a lot of potential because it is so pliable. Typically what happens is I've used heat iron-on vinyl to basically encase my decoupage paper in the past for projects. But this is really kind of cool because it does allow you to, you know, wash it. And I could wash the other two, same directions, gentle cycle, but I would always wash it inside out and let it line dry. But I completely encased the paper in vinyl. And so I guess it's really the same concept, except that this is less, this is just easier and takes less finagling, you know, making a pocket or anything like that. And it is less expensive than the other method. So I think that is in itself a reason to give it a go. So let me try that. I'm glad you like the candy corns. Oh, good. So you ordered yours from Amazon, Lori. Yep, that's where I ordered mine too. I didn't actually see it in Michael's when I was there. So this needs a little cutting right over here. These little plastic Dollar Tree mats are awesome. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to set that one aside. And then let's see what we've got. We've got something like this, and we could do a medium one like this. Just, I think that's kind of a cute little layout. So we could do, you know, having it kind of come in like this. We could just do a couple of these. And so it looks like if I'm going to do that what I need is like another one more large, and I'll save the small ones for another project. So let's go ahead and get this large one out, and then we will iron these in place. You can also do the back side. So you could do both sides of your tote bag. You just want to make sure that I'm going to want to keep that iron on. You're going to want to make sure that you have some protection on the back side. So like parchment paper or something like that, so you don't glue it to your table or something. Okay, I'm going to cut this one out. I know this isn't very exciting to watch people cut out candy corn, but it is necessary, or I will have a glue mess. Let's see if I did this okay. It's sticking a little bit. Did I get that? I think I've got this one little spot right down here. Okay. I usually like odd numbers, but I guess I have 7 elements on my thing. So I think, and 3 on each side is good. So let's do that. Okay. I got this here. Okay. And I'm going to lay this one down like this. And this one just kind of like that. I think that's okay, don't you? I think we get the idea. So what I'm going to do then is lay my parchment paper down over my candy corns. And with my hot iron, we're going to iron these in place. I've got a little bit of a fold here, so that wasn't maybe the best place to put that, but I think we're going to be able to get it to work. And so the glue is on the back of these, and that is going to attach it to the fabric, so they say. So let's see, because I do not have fabric, I did not put any glue onto the fabric for the candy corns. I only did the back of the little candy pieces. So I'm going to be curious to see how that works and if they are actually in place. They're a little, I've got a little glue sticking right here, so I want to release that. And I've got a little piece right up here. So I think it's a little easier if you can stay away from any seams that you might have in your piece. And I'm going to gently lift this because I've got a little bit of glue and they are in place. I've got one little spot right here that I'm going to double check. You just want to check your edges. And now that's in place. Super cute. I like that a lot. And now we're going to do that. I'm going to move this down just a little bit so it's not so close to my seam. And this one is just going to be stuck a little bit. I'm going to try to come off to the side with that and come up a little bit so I'm not so close to my seam. Right here, this is where it gets a little tricky. I could pull that out, I guess. Let's see if I can pull that out a little bit and see if that doesn't help. Or is it going to make it stiff? So again, I've got that little hinge here on my table, so I'm going to move that here. And then we're going to put these down. I think it's a super sweet trick-or-treat bag for somebody. I think it's darling. I loved these papers, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. But they're really, really darling. And so this is just my little craft iron. I'm glad you like it, Kara. I can see doing really pretty tote bags. You could do any kind of canvas bag, any kind of fabric bag, tote bag, shoes, you know, anything like that. Just super, super cute. And when we were trick-or-treating growing up, we used a pillowcase. So we didn't have any fancy, you know, trick-or-treat bags, but I think this is darling. So I actually think that I will make the second one. And we have two little neighbor boys, and I might just give these to them and see if they would enjoy that. Put treats in it or something. So let me see how my edges are. Super, super cute. I just want to go around. All right, I've got a little bit right there. So I want to go again. Once you get really close to your seam, it is a little trickier, but you can just lay it back down. Okay. And so, oh, they're dark. So it's darling, right? And so, yes, the candy corn does, because she watercolored these images. And so they have all of the fabulous shading that she always does in her designs. So I could have fussy cut out the owl, but I like that he has a little bit of a separation, or I could have wet cut him and given him a distressed edge. We always think of these things after we do it. So I like it with the candy corn because it fills out the bag. And now what I would do is I'm going to seal this with the fabric Mod Podge. And then I can actually go ahead and, but what I want to do is show you how pliable that is. And so it's really, really cool. And so I'm just going to do some on, I'm going to do just not too thick of a coat, but I'm just going to cover that. It's just kind of a lighter coat, but I definitely want to seal it. Okay. And then that will protect it. And then once this is dry, I will go over it with a couple of coats of matte varnish just to seal it even more so it's not a glue layer on top. I want to seal this in. Okay. Kind of coming to my edge here. And that'll fill in. I just love him. I think he's super cute. So you can get the, I will, when I share the finished project, I will share a link to the products that I'm using if you haven't already been Googling on or searching on Amazon right now, so that you have it. Thank you, Royce. I think it's darling. Don't you think your grandson would like something like this? I'm going to give it to our neighbor boys. I'll make another one and give it to them. So my granddaughter is not old enough for trick or treat. And when she is, we'll make one with the paper that she chooses, right? Okay. So I just think the kids would enjoy them. And they're not, even though they're black cats or black owls, they're not scary. They're really friendly looking and sweet. And so I like that. So I'm sealing this, and I'll seal each of the candy corns. And I'm loving these little, these spreader brushes, these little silicone brushes for this kind of stuff. I've been using them for my matte gel medium and all of that. I like it. It's much easier to spread. So I'm going to go down in one direction just so I don't have a bunch of lines going down here. And here's what I just noticed, this tiny little bit right here that I didn't get. So I'm going to take a little bit of my fabric Mod Podge and I'm going to run it right under the paper right here. And I'm just going to push that down. Okay. I wanted to iron this on so that it would be as smooth as possible since it was going on fabric, but I've got him sealed, and now I'm going to go ahead and seal the candy corns as well. And they do have a little bit of crinkles in them, but I think that's super cute on it anyway. And this Mod Podge is just going to seal it, make it washable, and it's going to protect it, and it gives some a pliable attribute to it. Okay, so I'm going to try to go in that direction. And so we're going to seal all of these. And so while we're doing that, because we're just about done, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them while I'm here. And let's see. I'm kind of spreading it to here. I don't want to get too much on my bag. But if I do notice a little area like right here, because I'm so close to the seam, again, I'm just going to dip this little spatula in here. I'm going to lift up. I'm going to apply some right under here, and then I'm going to just push that in place. So I think that's really cute. So we're going to seal these, and then we are done. I don't see any other questions. So now I've got all kinds of fabric decoupage projects written down that I want to do. So I'm really excited about that. I think these are super cute and a fun way to use the paper in a usable way. I think they're really, really cute. So this, again, has to dry 72 hours before it can be washed. And then it's cold water, delicate cycle, line dry, no dryer. If I get a little glue on here too. I even thought, you could even take this a little further and, extend that blue background a little bit with, if you used GAC, which is a fabric, which is an additive for paint on fabric, you could do that. And then that is it. So I've sealed that. I'm going to let that dry, and then we are ready to give it. So you can see it's bendable like that, even though it's wet. So it's bendable and pliable, and I love that about it. So this is something, again, this is the blue Mod Podge for fabric. And so this is definitely something I would use again. I am, like I said, going to be very curious to see if it's something that yellows over time, like I've experienced with other things. So anyway, let me do that. And thank you so much for joining me for another project. I really enjoy creating with all of you, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. And wherever you are, I hope you're well and happy creating. See you soon. Bye-bye.